I'm not here to try to convince you that I'm a rapper, because I'm really not. But I do have a very important story to share. So please find the time to listen. Now this is my true story about a young white blind boy who was being raised a racist. Yeah, they told me to stay away from all black people if I could. Stay with the white folks. That's where your place is. They said that Jews own all the businesses and they're as greedy as they could be. Spanish people carry knives and us whites are fighting for our lives. And it wasn't going to be easy. Now, I was in school and they needed to find somebody to walk me from class to class. You know, get me around. So they picked a young boy. His name was Roy. He was a quiet kid, hardly made a sound. Well, me and Roy became real good friends. We were as close as two friends could be. I would teach Roy how to speak Italian. Way, gumbare, bene qua, bene qua. And Roy didn't care if his friend couldn't see. One day some punks came over to me and said, "Hey man, why you hanging out with Roy? Don't you know he's black?" Now how do you think that would affect our friendship? Would I want to get all that kindness back? Think about it. Think about it. I was sitting in my yard listening as usual to the kids play in the street. And all of a sudden I hear, "A monster! Oh my God, it's a monster! He's ugly! What an ugly monster!" And they start laughing. Kids were screaming. Kids were running. I didn't know what was going on. All of a sudden, this little boy appeared in front of me. And he said, "Hello." And he had a weird voice. It was like, "Hello." I said, "What is that?" He said, "My name is Walter." I said, "My name is Vinny." He said to me, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm sitting here." He said, "Don't you want to play?" I said, "How am I going to play? I can't see. What am I supposed to do?" He said, "Don't you want to play baseball?" I said, "I'd love to play baseball, but I can't see. How am I going to play baseball?" He said, "Come with me. Come on, I'll show you." This young man had a heart of a lion. He took me to the local playground up the street. He took a baseball bat and cut off the thin end of a baseball bat, the handle, and let me hold the fat part. Taught me how to hit a ball. He caught it, bounced it back to me, and he would say to me, "Listen to the bounce, go get the ball." And I was playing baseball. That was me playing baseball. Listen to the bounce, hit it, boom. Walter discovered behind the orchard there was a brook, and it ran under a train trestle. He discovered this whole new world for him and I. This relationship was so important. We would go to the brook, we'd take off our shoes and socks, walk through the brook. He would catch frogs, let me hold the frog, describe the frog. We would sit under the train trestle as the train went by and feel the rumble. We would toast marshmallows in those days and build a hut. This was our world. He showed me things I never knew existed. I spent most of my early days sitting in my front yard just listening. Now I was in the world. He was showing me things. Walter. This young man, I want you to understand what bullying is, because everywhere he went, he had to see people smirk, laugh, turn away, some in horror, some cover their eyes. Everywhere he went, this happened. But we had a relationship. He could depend on me. I could depend on him. This was such a crucial relationship for both of us at this time. I couldn't do anything. I had nobody. Nobody would go near Walter, but we had each other.
I was able to learn how somebody's handicap was able to allow them to prosper in life, and basically allow them to not discriminate because he didn't have any choice. He met certain people and he wasn't able to understand whether they were different from him, and he was able to gain connections that he wouldn't have gained if he wasn't blind. And yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
I think it was very inspirational because most people pity people with a disability, but he showed how it was a gift for him, especially growing up in a time where discrimination was, rampant. He wasn't subjected to it because his blindness didn't make him judge anyone.
I'm not here to try to convince you that I'm a rapper, because I'm really not. But I do have a very important story to share. So please find the time to listen. Now this is my true story about a young white blind boy who was being raised a racist. Yeah, they told me to stay away from all black people if I could. Stay with the white folks. That's where your place is. They said that Jews own all the businesses and they're as greedy as they could be. Spanish people carry knives and us whites are fighting for our lives. And it wasn't going to be easy. Now I was in school and they needed to find somebody to walk me from class to class. Get me around. So they picked a young boy. His name was Roy. He was a quiet kid, hardly made a sound. Well, me and Roy became real good friends. We were as close as two friends could be. I would teach Roy how to speak Italian. Way, gumbare, bene qua, bene qua. And Roy didn't care if his friend couldn't see. One day some punks came over to me and said, "Hey man, why are you hanging out with Roy? Don't you know he's black?" Now how do you think that would affect our friendship? Would I want to get all that kindness back? Think about it. Think about
it. He always tells me, be good in school and treat people how you want to be treated all the time. And he's always telling me about himself, and he always loves to tell stories. So
we were looking forward to having Mr. Bazille be with us this morning to make his presentations. This is Black History Month, and one of our mottos is knowledge is power. The issues which Mr. Bazille was going to address in his presentation were right along those lines. We are sure that Mr. Bazille's words, his stories, his songs will inspire our students to at least think about it. That is one of his songs. Think about it. All of the issues which he will be discussing, which are related to hatred, discrimination, bullying, all the negatives that we want our students to be aware of and stay well away from. Mr. Bazille himself is an inspiration to all of us, students and adults alike, and we are very pleased to have him here. Thank you.
As he walks through the neighborhood, people stop and stare. Some point at him, some laugh out loud at the mask that he must bear. He sees me standing in my yard, but I don't turn away. He asks me why I'm not afraid. I look at him and say, why should I be afraid of someone I cannot see? Your face doesn't frighten me. Why should I be afraid? He said he lived right down the block in a foster home. His parents had abandoned him. He's always been alone. He said, come with me, I'll lead the way. He took me by my hand. I'll explain the world to you so you'll understand. Why should I be afraid of someone who's showing me those things in life I would never see? Why should I be afraid?
Two little boys sharing their laughter and playing like other kids. Two little boys growing together and learning what friendship is.
I thought he was very inspirational. Yeah, good guy. He's talking, he's speaking the truth. It's really like that sometimes, and sometimes you just gotta overcome stuff like that.
The gift of blindness helped me to realize that the things I had been taught are wrong. It's all wrong. And you don't judge people on what they look like or what color skin they have. So I'm hoping to reach out and touch as many kids as possible with the message that if you carry hate and you carry this prejudice and you carry this stuff with you your whole life, it prevents you from growing, number one. It prevents you from evolving as a person. And you get married, you have children, you're going to spread it. And that's a horrible, horrible legacy to leave to your kids, to anybody. Believe me, it was part of my legacy. And I know how tough that is. So I'm just hoping they're going to take this seriously, and as they evolve, start to realize how important it is to not judge people at all on the color of the skin or where they come from, and try to get rid of the hate if there's any hate. It's very important. Well, I was a little blind boy at 7. I lost my eyesight, and I had a passion for music, and I had this dream of being a rock and roll star. Obviously, I'm not a rock and roll star, but music has taken me through my whole life. I've done something that I love, and that's music. And the diversity in music also taught me so much about people from different countries, and people with different colored skin, and people with different accents. The diversity in music really helped me an awful lot to know people for who they are, not what they look like.